Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. To make this braided cardigan you will need a super bulky yarn and a 9mm crochet hook. So you're going to begin by chaining 6. And then you're going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook. And then you're going to continue with single crochet into every chain all the way to the very end. So at the end of this row you're going to chain 1 and then you're going to turn your work, and now you're going to be working into the back loops. So into that very first stitch work a single crochet into the back loops and continue with single crochet to the very end, working into the back loops only. So you're going to repeat this row over and over again until you have 40 rows completed for a size small, 42 for a medium, 44 for large, 46 for extra large, and then 48 for 2XL and 3XL. So once you have single crocheted your required number of rows for your size, you're going to be doing half double crochet across this edge here. So you're going to begin by chaining 1. This will count as your first stitch, and then for a size small you're going to do a further 39 half double crochet, for a medium a further 41 half double crochet, for a large a further 43 half double crochet, then for an extra large a further 45 half double crochet, and then for a 2XL and a 3XL you're going to do a further 47 half double crochet. So yeah, just continue on with your required number of half double crochet all the way across this band. So once you come to the very end of your row, you're going to chain 1. This does not count as your first half double crochet. So then just turn your work, and into that very first space you're going to do your first half double crochet. And then you're going to work a half double crochet into every stitch all the way across. And then you're going to repeat this row over and over again until this square measures about 22 inches. If you want it longer, add more rows. So when you come to your very last row, you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to turn your work, and then you're going to do 19 half double crochet for a size small, 20 for a medium, 21 for a large, 22 for extra large, and then 23 for 2XL and 3XL. This piece here that we're working on will be one of the front panels. So from now on you're just going to be working on these stitches here, and you're going to leave the remaining stitches unworked. So continue on for where you are working on these stitches. You're going to chain 1, and then you're going to turn your work, and then you're going to half double crochet into that very first stitch, and then you're going to continue with half double crochet into every stitch until this front panel measures the exact same as the back panel. So once you're finished your last row, you're just going to make a chain of 6. And then you're going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook, and then you're going to single crochet into the remaining 4 chains. And then you're going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches, just like so. Now you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to turn your work, and then working into the back loops only, you're going to place a single crochet into each of the next 5 single crochets. Now you're going to chain 1, turn your work again, then working into the back loops only, make a single crochet into the next 5 single crochets. Then you're going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. So now you're going to chain 1 again, then you're going to turn your work, then working into the back loops only, you're going to work 5 single crochet. Now chain 1, turn your work, and do the same thing again. You're going to work into the back loops only and make a single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. And then work a slip stitch into each of the next 2 stitches. So now you're going to chain 1 and then do your single crochet across, then turn again, chain 1, single crochet across, and then slip stitch into the next 2 stitches, and then you're going to repeat that all the way across. And then when you reach the end, you're just going to cut your yarn and then fasten off. And this will be your first front panel completed. So now for your second front panel, you're going to skip the first 2 stitches from the other front panel, and then into the 3rd stitch you're going to attach your yarn, and then you're going to chain 1 and you're going to half double crochet into the same stitch as your chain 1, and then you're going to continue with half double crochet all the way across. And then when you reach the end of this row, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, then you're going to half double crochet all the way across again, and then you're going to keep going until this panel is the same length as your other panels. And now you should have something that looks like this. So now we're going to start on your sleeves. So begin by chaining 6. Now you're going to single crochet into the 2nd chain from the hook, and then you're going to work 1 single crochet into every chain all the way to the very end. So once you reach the end, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, then you're going to work into the back loop. So place a single crochet into that very first stitch, and then continue working into the back loops, making single crochets into every stitch to the very end. So you're going to keep repeating that row until you have 16 rows in total completed. So once you have your 16 rows completed, we're going to be working half double crochet across. So begin by chaining 1, that counts as your first stitch, and then make a further 15 half double crochet all the way across this band. So at the end of that row, chain 1, turn your work. Don't forget that chain 1 counts as your first half double crochet. So into that very first stitch, make another half double crochet. So essentially you have increased by 1 stitch here. So make 1 half double crochet until you reach the very end. So into your last stitch, this will be the chain 1 from the previous row. You're going to place 2 half double crochets into that stitch. So again, we have increased another stitch. So this will be the increase row where you increase 1 stitch at each end. And then into the next row, chain 1, and this will be a regular row, there'll be no increases. So skip that very first stitch there, and then work a half double crochet into the next, and then continue working 1 half double crochet all the way to the very end. So here we are at the end. We're going to just place 1 half double crochet into that very last stitch, because this is not going to be an increase round. So for the next round, chain 1, and this will be your increase row. So into that very first stitch, place a half double crochet, and then you're going to work 1 half double crochet until you reach the last stitch. Into that last stitch, then you're going to place 2 half double crochets. That's your increase row completed. So you're going to alternate between increasing an increase row and a non-increase row. So you're going to repeat between those 2 rows over and over again until you have 30 half double crochet for a small, 32 for a medium, 34 for large, 36 for extra large, and 38 for 2XL and 3XL. So when you reach the end of your last row, chain 1, then turn your work, and you're going to place 1 half double crochet into every stitch all the way across, and then you're going to repeat this row until the sleeve measures 18 to 19 inches long. So then cut your yarn, leaving a very long tail, and then fasten off, and then repeat that whole process over again for your second sleeve. So now we're going to move back to the main body part of our cardigan. So here's the shoulder seam, and you're going to pick the stitch that is on that seam, and you're going to get a stitch marker and mark that area there. And then you're going to flatten out the entire piece. Just like so. Grab your sleeve, one of your sleeves, fold that in half just to find the center stitch. So once you find that center stitch, you're going to attach that stitch to your stitch marker that's on your body piece. And then you're going to sew your sleeve to your body piece, and you should have something that looks like this. And then you're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. So once you have your 2 sleeves attached, you're going to fold over your cardigan so that it starts to look like a regular cardigan. Just like so. So you're going to sew all along your sleeve here and then all the way down to the very bottom of your cardigan where the ribbing is. So now we need to make the braid part that goes around this inner edge. So begin by chaining 15. Now you're going to single crochet into that second chain from your hook, and then you're going to single crochet into each chain all the way to the very end. So at the end of that row, chain 1, turn your work, and then work a single crochet into that very first stitch, then work another single crochet into the next stitch. Now you're going to chain 10, then you're going to skip the next 10 stitches and then work a single crochet into each of the last 2 stitches. So next, chain 1, turn your work, and now you're going to work a single crochet into every stitch all the way across. That includes the chain 10 as well. So continue with single crochet all the way across to the very end. So at the end, chain 1, turn your work, single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and now you're going to chain 10 again. Then you're going to skip the next 10 stitches and then work a single crochet into each of the last 2 stitches. So you're going to repeat that over and over again until it's long enough to go around the entire inner edge of your cardigan. So you should have something that looks like this. It basically looks like a ladder. So just keep doing that over and over again until it's long enough to go around the inner edge of your cardigan. So now we're going to braid this ladder. So grab that first step and give it a twist like so. And then you're going to grab your next step and feed that through the first loop. Then grab your next step and feed that through that loop. And continue like that all the way up along your ladder. So now you should have just one big braid. So just before you cut your yarn, just measure that against the inner edge of your cardigan just to make sure that it will go around the entire cardigan. And then you're going to fasten that off. So you will be left with one loop at the end of your braid. So to stop that entire braid from falling apart, we're going to make a little tassel. So cut a few pieces of yarn about 10 to 12 inches long and then fold that in half. And then you're going to feed that through the loop just like so. So now grab your braid and just lay it around the inner edge of your cardigan just like so. It might actually be easier if you just pin that down just to secure it while you're sewing it. So once you're happy with the placement of your braid, you're just going to want to sew that to the front panels of your cardigan. And that's it, that's your cardigan completed. So all you've left to do now is just weave in the ends, and that's it. So if you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, and then I'll see you next time. Take care.